Today is Thursday, October 17th. Good morning from the Civic Media News Desk. I'm Joanne Krulotz. 2 people were injured in a head-on crash earlier this week. Monday afternoon at 3:45, the Richland County Dispatch received a report of the crash at the intersection of U.S. Highway 14 and J Lane. The initial investigation revealed that Kai Wang, 56 of Lake Forest, Illinois, was traveling westbound on U.S. Highway 14 when he crossed over the center line into the eastbound lane. Sabrina Ryder, 46 of Richland Center, was driving eastbound and spotted Wang's vehicle in her lane. Unfortunately, both drivers were unable to avoid the impending collision and crashed head-on. Sabrina Ryder required extrication from her vehicle by the Lone Rock Fire Department before being transported to Richland Hospital by Lone Rock EMS. Due to the severity of her injuries, she was later airlifted to UW Hospital via UW Med flight for further treatment. Kai Wang was also transported to Richland Hospital for his injuries by Richland County Ambulance. The crash remains under investigation. Farmers who were impacted by Hurricane Helene are getting help from Wisconsin farmers by delivering hay for their animals in North Carolina and Tennessee. A Merrill farmer, Hans Breitenmauser, sent 54 large bales of hay to North Carolina. He says it was important for him to give back to those who need it most. This initiative was started by Freemark Innovations, a window supplier in Merrill. So far, 10 trucks from across the country have delivered hay to states impacted by the hurricanes. They said that they've gathered 14,000 large round bales, 450 large square bales, and 4,000 small bales of hay through donations. They are currently looking for more drivers to take more hay down to impacted states. The Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association says the new initiative of getting new AEDs to schools is aimed at enhancing the safety and well-being of student athletes, coaches, and spectators across the state. 24 schools throughout Wisconsin are getting the AEDs, with 14 distributed randomly and 10 given out using Department of Public Instruction data. Sudden cardiac arrest is a leading cause of death among young athletes. AEDs, when used promptly, can significantly increase the chance of survival. Andrew Levitt became the 11th chancellor for UW-Oshkosh when he took over in 2014, and he will continue as a faculty member and professor of chemistry. Levitt says he always believed a 10-year term would be sufficient, and serving longer deprives UW-Oshkosh of the fresh vision it deserves. Universities of Wisconsin President Jay Rothman says he is grateful for Levitt's service to UW-Oshkosh, its campus community, and the entire state. Levitt is now the 3rd chancellor in the UW system to announce their departure this year. Levitt's resignation goes into effect June 30th of next year. The Wisconsin Association for Home Health Care has announced that State Senator Howard Marklein has been recognized as a champion of home health care for the 2023-24 state legislative session. This designation is meant to publicly identify legislators for their exceptional work to promote the expanded utilization of skilled home health care as an effective, affordable option for post-acute medical care. As the Senate co-chair of the Joint Committee on Finance, Senator Marklein led the approval of the fiscal year 2023 to 25 budget that included a continuation of the Federal American Rescue Plan Act Home and Community-Based Services 5% increase from April 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. This rate increase has helped home health agencies attract and retain qualified workforce and ensure access to care. Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Wisconsin today for a trio of campaign appearances. The Democratic presidential candidate will be in La Crosse, Milwaukee, and Green Bay in her 6th trip to Wisconsin since she became the party's nominee this summer. Her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, was in Wisconsin earlier this week. After a spate of visits, Republican nominee Donald Trump has no events scheduled for Wisconsin. He's making appearances in other battleground states this week. Wisconsin voters wishing to use ballot drop boxes will have far fewer opportunities than in the past. Wisconsin Elections Commission Administrator Megan Wolf says available data indicates that there are at least 78 drop boxes in use in at least 48 communities across Wisconsin. Local clerks are not required to notify WEC if they plan to use the boxes. In 2020, there were approximately 500 drop boxes in use for the presidential election, and for the many years prior to the 2020 election, there were many additional drop boxes in use as well. In 2022, the Wisconsin Supreme Court's conservative majority struck down their use. The court's liberal majority reversed that decision earlier this year. Madison and Milwaukee have 14 drop boxes apiece. Racine has 7. All 3 cities are Democratic strongholds. Most municipalities that report having drop boxes have just 1, usually located near City Hall. Absentee voting in Wisconsin begins next Tuesday. All 3 election workers in a Wisconsin town of about 800 people resigned last week over a long-standing dispute just ahead of the start of in-person absentee voting in the crucial swing state and a month before the November 5th election. An interim clerk was appointed last week to oversee elections in the central Wisconsin town of Westfield, where 538 people cast ballots in the 2020 presidential election. President Joe Biden won Wisconsin by just under 21,000 votes in 2020, but he lost in Westfield by 137 votes. Courtney Trimble, deputy clerk in Marquette County, where Westfield is located, will take the job temporarily, the Wisconsin State Journal reported Wednesday. Trimble said 6 volunteers stepped forward after she was appointed, and several others had previously volunteered after the resignations earlier in the week. The dispute that led to the resignations is part of a long-running local rift related to a former town board chair who lost a recall election last month, according to the State Journal. Greater Richland Area Cancer Elimination, known as GRACE, will hold its annual meeting tonight at the Phoenix Center in Richland Center. All teams are encouraged to attend to receive plaques and plates. Research checks will also be handed out.